Good day, my name is Adura Gbemiloede, and today I'll be teaching on the part of the violin. Before I run us through the part of the violin and the bow, because of course you can't play the violin without the violin bow, so we'll be looking at the two of them. The reason why this is important is that if you don't know the part of the violin, it can hinder your learning progress, and that's why I am here today to put you through on the names of the part of the violin and also the bow. So let's get right into it. The first part I would like to mention is the scroll, and this is the scroll here. It's basically the decorative part of the head of the violin. You know, some other persons have someone's head being carved there, so you have different people with, some other persons have the head being carved as a horse, so it's just basically the decorative part of the violin. The next part of the violin is the peg, the tuning peg. The tuning peg is a wooden material where the strings are being wound for the tuning of the violin. The next one is the peg box. This peg box houses the pathway where the string gets in contact with the tuning peg for proper tuning. The next one online is the knot. The knot is the part of the violin that helps to elevate the string from having contact with the body or with the fingerboard of the violin. The next part of the violin is the neck. The neck is the part of the violin where you hold the violin. The next one is the fingerboard. The fingerboard is the part of the violin where you press your finger against the violin string to have a contact with the violin. And the next one is this wooden object here called the bridge. It sustains the violin strings and transfers vibration into the violin for sound production. And then the next one I'd like us to look at is this particular one here called the tailpiece. The tailpiece creates a tension alongside the violin pegs, tuning peg, so you could have the right tuning or tension for your strings while tuning. The next one is the fine tuner. The fine tuner are small knobs used in tuning violin when you only need small distance of tuning, and so you get to fine tune your violin after using your pegs. Then the next one is the chin rest. The chin rest is a part of the violin where you get to attach the violin to your body, or you hold the violin to, and this is how you get to do it. The next one I'd like us to look at is this fancy F here. It is called F hole. F hole is the part of the violin where the sound of the violin escapes. That's the point where you get to hear the sound being produced from your violin. The next part is the rib. The rib is the thin woods that lines the side of the violin. The next one I'd like us to take note of is the belly. The belly is the front of the violin, or let's say the top of the violin. The next is this particular one is a very hidden one, and it's found in the violin. You would need to take a closer look to be able to see it. It's actually a small wooden object having is been erected vertically, and it's called sound pole. It helps in the proper resonation of the violin sound. And the next one I'd like us to look at is the back of the violin. The next part of the violin, which looks to me as one of the most important part of violin, is The strings. Now on the violin we have 4 strings. The first one is the thinnest one. The second one is relatively more thicker than the first one. Anyways, the first one is called E, and the second one is called A. The third one is called D, and the fourth one, which is the thickest one, is called G. I like to pluck them for you so you get to hear the sounds. That's E. That's A. That's the second string. Then we go to the third one. What's that? That's D. And then you have what? The thickest one, which is G. The last part of the violin I like to mention is the end pane. You get to see this at the end point of the violin. It tacks down the tailpiece in order to prevent it from being taken off the violin body. And that's the parts of the violin. And so I like to go into the part of the bow. Now the first part of the bow I like to talk about is the top of the bow, called the tip. The tip is the part of the bow that connects your bow hair and your bow stick. And so that brings me to the next part of the bow, which is the bow hair. This is actually made of horsetail, and then it's hair-like. Then the next one I like us to look at is the bow stick. And then the next part of the bow I want you to know is the bow grip or the bow strap. Part of the bow grip, you have the winding, and then you also have the bow strap here. Both of them are called the bow grip. The next part I'd like us to look at is the frog. You say, what's that? Is that the real frog? Yes, it's F-R-O-G, frog. It's just a piece of wood attached to the bow stick in order to connect the bow hair to the other end of the bow. And the next part is the bow eye. Then we go to the last part of the bow, which is called bow screw, or you can call it adjuster. Now the function of this is about one of the most important in your violin bow, because it's either you can use it to increase or vary the tension of your bow hair, and this is very important in bows. I'll come to that later when we talk about maintaining a violin, because this actually is very important. You can either damage or repair your bow with this bow screw. So we come to the end of learning the part of the violin, and I would like us to make sure that we watch this video again and again to get acquainted with the parts of the violin, so we get more effective while learning with our teacher or with the video. One more thing, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.